Welcome guys to the Movie Matthew channel, where we just talk about movies, anything movie related, ranking, reviews, absolutely anything. So if you're into that, please subscribe and comment, like, do whatever you want. If you don't like it, dislike, whatever. But yeah, my last video was about Midsommar and how much I disliked it. So I thought, why don't I talk about a movie that I consider an absolute masterpiece and a movie I absolutely adore. And that movie for me is Once Upon a Time in the West. This movie is perfect. My mum is a huge Western fan. She grew up in that era where she just loves Westerns, and she always recommended this to me, always, Matthew, you should watch this, you gotta watch it, you gotta watch this movie, it's so good. And I'm a fan of Sergio Leone. Obviously he's made some of the best Westerns ever, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly being my absolute favourite, until I watched this, which is on par for me. It's just as good. And I finally got down to watching it, and I mean, I think this was about 3 years ago. I just rewatched it again. That's what made me want to make this video, and I just remember falling in love with it. And I watched it again the other day and I fell in love with it even more, which is so satisfying when you have a movie that's so good and then you remember it being really good and then you watch it and it's just as good. Sometimes you watch a movie, really like it, you watch it again another time and you're like, it's not that good actually. This one doesn't. This one holds up. It's perfect. I absolutely love it. So let's just talk about it, celebrate it, and yeah, let's just do it. Get right into it. For me, this movie is an art. This is, if anything proves that cinema is an art form, this is the movie. It has everything. Sergio Leone's direction, I almost got that completely wrong. Sergio Leone's direction in this film is so calculated. It's moved so slowly with a great purpose of building tension. Each scene is dragged out, but dragged out in a good way. Not 1 second of this movie is wasted, even though it's a rather basic plot line, but he's just managed to make a masterpiece out of a storyline that had no right of being a masterpiece. Every single scene with such care and precision, you could tell so much effort's gone into every single scene in this film, and he really puts effort into every single take. It's unbelievable, you know. There's not much conversing in the film, particularly in the first maybe hour or so, but it doesn't need it. The way it's directed and the way it's performed by the actors, which we'll get to in a minute because they're all amazing. Their eyes speak 1,000 words, their facial expressions speak 1,000 words, their movements, everything. You don't even need dialogue, it's that good. And the reasons for not needing as much dialogue and the movie to be still so amazing is, again, the performances, they're great, the direction, the camera work, everything along those lines. And then we've got Ennio Morricone's score, which is just outrageous, one of the best scores I've ever heard in film. I think it rivals The Good, the Bad and the Uglies, even though that is more iconic. Once Upon a Time in the West is very, very good too, and at parts it just gives you goosebumps, it's that good. And it's just so satisfying to see a movie do so well, because Ennio Morricone and Sergio Leone teamed up for The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and it was so good and perfect. They teamed up again, so the hype's obviously there. You're thinking, could they really achieve what they achieved with The Good, the Bad, the Ugly? And for me, they did. This film came out, I think, was it 3 years later? I think it was 3 years later. And wow, did they not disappoint. They made an absolute masterpiece, man. It's unbelievable. The basic plot line of this film is a mysterious stranger, he's called Harmonica, played by Charles Bronson. That's the only name we get for him because he loves to play harmonicas, and for some reason he somehow made a harmonica so intense and amazing. I don't know how he managed to do it, but how he plays it and the tension he builds from playing it and not really speaking much really adds a lot to his character, and it's great. The facial expressions from Charles Bronson as harmonica really, really work, and he doesn't need much dialogue for you to understand every little reason as to why he's doing what he's doing. His character's unbelievable. It's acted so well by Charles Bronson. I consider him the lead role in this film. the protagonist in this film, and he teams up with Cayenne, who's played by Jason Robards, and Jason Robards again. Let's add him to the list of movies of characters who are very, very good. His dialogue in this film is a bit more, you know, he talks a bit more, but not a second of his little monologues, and his dialogue is wasted at all. He's very, very, he's talking, you're hooked right in. He's a badass, he is. One of my favourite scenes, well, a lot of my favourite scenes involve Cayenne. I love it when Cayenne decides he's going to just come into this train and kill everyone and save Harmonica. He goes in so many creative kills, so many creative moments, memorable moments in that train scene, that train sequence involving Cayenne with his gun and lots of people dying. He's absolutely great in this film, Cayenne, and he has a beautiful ending to the film. I don't want to spoil it too much for people who haven't seen it, but yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And then we have A Beautiful Widow. When I say that word a lot, but this one is justified. Played by Claudia Cardinale, and she plays the character as Jill, and they all have the same idea of she's come back and she owns all this land and people want it, you know, and there's evil people who want it, and that evil person is played by Henry Fonda as Frank, who works for the railroad and wants her land and he'll do anything to get it. And it really builds up some great moments in this film. Henry Fonda, as I say, as Frank, is absolutely great in this film. So memorable. His facial expression, everything in this film is great. It's very menacing. He's evil. We find out Harmonica's motivation for actually disliking Frank nearing the end of the film. And it's such a satisfying reason. And it happens during the standoff. And seriously, this standoff is up there with The Good, the Bad, the Ugly standoff, but this one between Frank and Harmonica is so good. And during this score that's blasting through my TV, played by Ennio Morricone, is some of the best, honestly, at this point. The music is ridiculous, so entertaining. I could watch that standoff all day. It doesn't need to be some big, huge scene for me to enjoy it. I appreciate little things as well. And one I do particularly love is when Cayenne comes into the bar, you know, and he's greeted by Jill, and he's just having a bit of dialogue, you know, walking about, and he notices something, corner of his eye, and you're thinking, who's that, who is it? And he has his lantern on a rope, and he just pushes the lantern down the rope, and then boom, you get this unbelievable shot of Harmonica just sat there chilling with his beer and his harmonica. And I don't know why I like that scene so much. It's just a beautiful shot, and it's a shot I've never seen before. It's very original, and it's something that's very creative, and I just really liked that. I liked how the light just came out of nowhere and then boom, straight in Harmonica's face, and you greeted the first greeting between Cayenne and Harmonica, and you don't know what's really going to happen, but you can tell the relationship kind of builds between them. There's not much dialogue, but you can tell they kind of respect each other straight off the bat, and that's incredible to see. This movie also has one of the best opening sequences in film. It's very memorable and it's very, very good. Jack Elam is there, sat there chilling with a fly, just hovering around all over the place. It's like, well, I'm getting sick of this, fuck this fly. I'm going to get the barrel of my gun and put it on him. Catches him, you know, but while all this is happening, this fly is flying around his face. This shot must have taken so long to perfect as well, so credit to Sergio Leone and Jack Elam for having the patience to actually shoot that and be successful with it. But yeah, then even though that's happening, you also think, oh, something else is going to happen here, because they're all sat there, you know, stuff's going down. Then you hear the harmonica, and this is where you're introduced to harmonica. He comes in and, well, shit again goes down, and it's an unbelievable setup, a great start to the film. And I love how much time he takes with every scene, Sergio Leone. Everything is done with so much patience. He's not just rushing, oh, what, we've done this scene, let's get to the next one, the next one, the next one. We don't want people to be bored, we don't want people to be doing this. But Sergio Leone doesn't give a shit. That's what I love about his movies. He's patient with the scene. He lets it drag out. He savours every last drop of scenes he films, and every take has a meaning, every take has skill and precision and practice behind it, and I just absolutely love the attention to detail he puts into his films. You can tell he really appreciated film. It's not like films you see maybe now where it all has to be fast paced and it always has to be not much dialogue or any tension built by these quick fast scenes like this has happened, then this has to happen, and this has to happen. It doesn't happen in this film. It's all methodically done, put together so perfectly, and it's just credit to an absolutely world-class director who was one of the best ever, in my opinion. I think he's an absolute genius. But if you're into just cinema and appreciate great camera work, great direction, great score, great performances, if you appreciate that, you'll appreciate this film. I don't care if you don't like it, you've got to at least appreciate how good this film is put together and appreciate how well and how much effort and everything that's gone into this film to make it work so well. You know, it's an absolute art form, it's this movie. It should be put in every film class in the world. It's just brilliant. So yeah guys, that's my, I guess, some sort of review or just discussion about Once Upon a Time in the West. If you have seen it, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to talk about it because I love this film. And kind of break down what you love about the film, and if you haven't seen it, please do. It's great. And that's me done for today guys. I'll let you know when I'm posting another video. I'm really excited to get going with this and just talking about movies more and going at it because I love them so much, and this is one I really enjoyed talking about today, and I'll do more videos like this, and I'll also talk about ones I dislike too. But guys, anyway, I'll stop rambling. I'll see you on the next video.